Hey guys, Dave here from Design Upgrade Pro for H5P, and this video is going to show you all of the options we have for buttons. So there's a lot of different buttons for submitting answers to different questions and for checking things, and this is going to work on all of the buttons globally throughout all the different H5P content types. So the first option here is the button style. Now there's three different options. There's solid, outline, and outline to solid. So to give you an idea what these are, solid buttons are going to always have a background color and then the text over top of it. And then when you hover over that, it will still have a background color and text over top, but you can change the hover colors. Basically, a solid button is always going to have a background color. The outline option is going to take away the background color, make it transparent, and then add a 2-pixel solid border around the button, and then the text will be inside. So some people call those a ghost button. We're referring to it as an outline button. And if you choose that style, it will stay the same on hover. You can change the color of the border in the text, but the button itself will still just have the border and the text. No background at all for either default or hover if you choose the outline style. The outline to solid option is going to be a combination of the two. So it's going to start out as an outline button. So when you see it, it will just have the border and the text, and the background will be transparent. And then when you hover over it, it turns into a solid button. So it's going to be filled with the background color. So the border will go away. It will now just look like it has a background color with text on top of it. So those are the three different options we give you. And I want to mention that these primary color and secondary color options down here, they're going to do slightly different things depending on what type of button style you're choosing. I tried to put some help text here to explain it, but it is kind of hard to write down in text, so that's why I'm hoping this video will show you the different options and what these color options do. The few other options we have here that I'll go through is the button text. By default, it's going to capitalize the first letter, and then the rest of it will be lowercase. So that's kind of the standard default that H5P decides to use. However, we give you the option to change that to make everything uppercase or everything lowercase. So in this instance, what you see right here on the screen, this is lowercase. And then we also give you the option to bold the text. By default, it is just a normal default font weight, but if you want to make it bold, you just check this box and that will make it bold. The button border radius, this is different from the global border radius, so we gave you the option to change the border radius for buttons only, and this is going to do just that. It will either round the corners off if you add a really high border radius, or if you change this to 0, it will square everything off and make the hard edges for you with no rounded corners. And then, like I said, these four different color options down here are going to differ depending on which button type you have. So right now we have a solid button. So let's go through what these colors do. So for a solid style, right here we say the primary color is the background. The secondary color is going to be text color for solid styles. So primary color is black, so we have a black background. And then the secondary color is green, which means we have green text. Then when we hover over it, we're going to change the primary to green and the secondary to white. So that means the button will have a green background and white text. So we hover and we get a green background and white text. So that is our solid option. I'm going to change a few of these options here and I will show you the other two. All right, so here we are with the outline button style. And this time notice that I did change the button text to uppercase instead of lowercase. So you'll notice all of the letters are now uppercase for these buttons. So let's take a look at the colors now. So when you use an outline button, the primary color is going to be used for everything. So there is no secondary color. So we've got text and a border, and that is going to use the black primary color. And then when we hover over it, it's going to use this green hover primary color, and everything changes to green. So the secondary color does not come into play with the outline buttons. It just uses a primary color. And now let's take a final look at the last option. All right, so here we are with the outline to solid button style. And if you'll notice, I changed the button text to be default. So it's not uppercase or lowercase. It is just capitalizing the first letter and then lowercasing the rest. So that is the default option for H5P. I've also made the button border radius 0. So you'll notice the rounded corners are gone and we now have these squared off edges with no rounded corners at all. So now when we have the outline to solid, since the default state is outline, we're basically just using the primary color. So this secondary color does not apply. The text and the border are both going to use the primary color, which is black. So that's what we see here. Then when we hover over it, since it's changing to a solid style button on the hover, we are going to use both primary and secondary. We're going to use the green here for the hover primary. That's going to be our background. And then the hover secondary is going to be our text. So this should be a green button with white text when we hover, and that's just what we get. So that shows you the 3 different options there for the button styles. And again, these apply to all of the different buttons throughout all content types in H5P.